everything labeled as alignment is actually obedience. And the idea is that faith language can be used, and you might not even realize that you're doing it. Faith language can be used to avoid honesty, responsibility, and real, true decision making. It's a little bit hard to hear sometimes and hard to point to yourself and look at these things, but it's kind of important. So spiritual language should not replace honest communication. And faith does not cancel responsibility. And number 3 is pressure wrapped in God talk. And number 4 is putting all the responsibility on God instead of our partnership with him, which is kind of also avoiding the results of ownership, because I also believe in extreme responsibility. We have extreme responsibility for everything we do in this life, every decision we make, every word we speak, every thought we have. And that's the ultimate challenge, is gaining control of those things, which is just one of the goals, right? Which is self-control of the physical, the mind, the heart, all the things. So let's dive into some of these main points. Spiritual language should not replace honest communication. Saying, just trust, and that's your business model. But on the other hand, clarity also matters. So instead of saying, here's exactly what this product does, what it does for you, what this service does, who it's for, and what it costs, and what it involves, it becomes, just trust God. If it's for you, you'll feel it. It sounds spiritual, but it removes responsibility to be clear and helpful to your people. You still need to be honest about your offers. You still need boundaries about who you work with, about what you sell, and you still need follow through. You still have to adhere to your word. When you say you're going to do something, you do it, right? And a lot of times we use it as an excuse to avoid the discomfort of selling, because so many of us have emotional attachment to the word sales, to selling, and we don't frame it properly as a service to our people. So instead of thinking, I'm inviting you to buy this because I believe it will help you, truth, right? It should be the truth if you're selling something. This becomes, I'm not here to sell, I'm just here to serve. Or, I love this one, I'm not selling, I'm just sharing. These are things that I have said to myself. So, it sounds humble, right? It's not about me. But what it actually is on the inside is fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of having those money conversations. I get it. We have a lot of emotional load placed on some of these words and some of these actions because of how we've been programmed and trained throughout our lives. I get it. But fear is never a good motivation, and fear is never a good place to start from, right? We have to recognize it and flip it, right, into something that is ethical and good for our people. That was number 2. So I'll just continue on that. But it's also that was number 2. Sorry, I wrapped that all into one. So number 3 is putting all the responsibility on God instead of the partnership that we have with him. He gave us free will. He gave us reign over the earth and this kingdom. So we are responsible. We've made a mess of things. So here's some of the wording, right? If you miss this, you're missing your destiny. God told me you need this now. Using the language instead of using the thought, God guides me. I still take action. I speak clearly and I make these decisions. Instead, it becomes, I'm just waiting on God. Oh, the waiting on God thing. I'm just looking for clarity. I said this in another video. It's the same thing. It's procrastination, indecision, and staying stuck. Believe me, I do know this. Been there, done that. So clean selling always leaves room for a choice. And the best buyer is the one that chooses themselves without manipulation or using any of these words or these phrases to move them into buying from you, and especially if it's not a good fit for them. It's like You're putting them in a box that they don't belong in. So we invite, we don't coerce. We invite, we don't try to convince or chase them down. We use truth, not theatrics and drama. And we try, I said this in another video, we talked about using fear as a manipulative way of getting them to move. But there are some offers that really are nothing based on fear. Nothing but fear is the only motivator to get that product, like cybersecurity I was talking about. That's okay as long as you do it ethically and truthfully, telling true stories. So clean selling leaves room for choice is what I was saying there. And that was number 4, right? So here's just some more examples, or we should say, I need to improve how I'm communicating this. I probably need to improve how I'm communicating this very video. But I didn't quite know how to approach it, and I wanted to talk about it. But it becomes, I guess God didn't want it to happen. And it's like, the idea came from somewhere. You have to follow through up on it. What if it was a God idea? You don't know until you act, right? And it might be true. Maybe sometimes it wasn't. Sometimes it is a bad idea, but you'll learn something from it. I need to listen to my own advice there. Tell you the truth. I've had this idea of making that grace reset into a journal, and I haven't done it yet. I think there's a little fear around that, right? And if we make decisions out of fear, it's just not the right way to go. Make the decisions out of love, right? Out of a good place, out of helping people. So my point is about, I guess God didn't want it to happen. It might be true sometimes, but it can also be ways to avoid the learning, avoid the refining, because we get refined in pressure and in circumstances that we live through. And it might be ways of avoiding adjusting your strategy. Because for example, I have always avoided the talking to people part. I don't know why. There's a fear of man in there, right? And when you join an MLM, that's one of the first things they talk to and teach you is how to talk to people, right? And the fear behind it is I'll be spammy. But spamming is actually like sending unsolicited offers to people. If you're just asking them to be open or asking if they are open, that's not spam. That's just asking a question. So it's a little bit, by trying to avoid learning that skill, well, it kept me stuck for a very long time. And I was using all kinds of excuses talked about in here that kept me stuck. So how do we avoid it? And how do we make sure that we are not using faith-based language in that way? So number 1 is being clear and faith-led yourself. Here's what this is for, your product, your service, whatever. Here's who it's for. Here's how it helps them. Clear. There's no vagueness and there's no hiding behind discernment. It is those 3 things. Here's who it's for and here's how it helps. Sounds simple, right? Simple things are sometimes not easy to implement. Number 2 is taking responsibility for your role. So you explain things well. Maybe you practice. Before I started making videos, and I'm not saying I'm great at this, I'm not, but I would take my phone, because you can record videos on your phone. I'm on my computer right now, but you just record yourself and then you watch yourself and you learn, right? So learn. One of my biggest struggles has always been using my words, which I love Moses' example for that, because with his stutter, and God's like, nope, I want you to do this and I want you to speak. I will give you the words. You improve your messaging. Same thing. Improve your messaging by speaking into the hopes and dreams of the people that you are serving. Speak into their thoughts. That's all marketing. And it all is, you would say, manipulative, or you can use it as a tool to help them. And you show up consistently. That one's a hard one, isn't it? I actually have a app that I log into every day that has my VIP stuff that I got to do every day. And I like when I check them off. It's a good feeling. So doing all these things, taking responsibility for your role, explaining things well, improving your messaging, and showing up consistently, all while trusting God in the process. Because the outcomes show up when you do these things and when you always put first the kingdom of God, right? I don't have these numbered. Am I on number 3? 1, 2, 3. I'm going to type the number 3 just so that I can see that that's number 3. Inviting instead of hiding. You don't pressure, you don't manipulate, and you don't disappear. So I've learned that one recently. I have disappeared for a while. I'll just call it a season of refinement. See, there I go. Using the faith-based language as an excuse. If this resonates, you're invited. I don't know why I put that there. Maybe that's for someone, so take it. That was number 3. Number 4 is partnership language instead of passivity. So it's not God will do it all. It's I move and he guides, right? And a recent lesson that I just learned is God initiates all the good things in your life. You'll notice that he initiated. Bad things were things that you initiated without him or someone else initiated without him. So by saying God will do it all, it's almost an excuse not to do anything. And believe me, I've been there. That's why I'm talking about all this. Sometimes we use that language, like I said, in my very own examples that I've used it myself to avoid doing the things that we're actually here to do. And that's like being clear, making decisions, or even inviting someone to take the next step. That's not faith. That's avoidance with a halo on it. Been there. Ouch, right? We don't honor God by making people feel cornered. So my question to you is, have you ever used this kind of spiritual bypassing to show up, to not show up in business language? Something like that. If you need any help with your business systems, please ask me or just visit my sites or read the comments. You'll find all kinds of ways that you can get help for your business. And they're all ethical people that I work with. So anyway, make it a great day. See you next time.